everyone, I'm Kelly Walters, and today we are gearing up for fall sports. As you are tuning in with us on this live webinar, say hello and let us know where you're from. I always love to see where people are tuning in to obtain this type of information and, of course, our education. So before we quickly get started, I am going to kind of tell you the process of how we are going to do things. That way you kind of know what to expect and where we're going. We're going to start with a PowerPoint just to give you a little bit of brief information, just kind of an overview on what we're decorating and why we are decorating using the materials and the size of numbers that we're using. And then we're going to go straight to the press. We have, 2, 4, 6, 8, like 12 different types of transfers to apply today. We are going to decorate 3 different types of uniforms, and then I have a special project at the very end that we will go through. So I'm going to quickly just pop in to chat. Hi, guys. All right, tuning in on the other side, our behind the scenes gal is Stacy. So you might hear her pop in and chat with me. If she sees any questions in the comments, then she will help answer them or send them over to me, and I will help answer them as well. I'm going to do my best to look in the comments, but I can tell you right now where my camera and my computer is, it's a little bit further away. So if I get really close, just know I am trying to read the comments. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pop up this presentation. We will be decorating a volleyball, a soccer, and a basketball jersey today. And we are going to do both the front and the back. Of course, we'll go over all of the materials and we'll give you some tips and tricks at the end. If you have any questions before we get started, go ahead and pop them in the comments or in the chat box. Hi, everyone. I am just scrolling down to make sure I am not missing anything right from the get-go. Okay, so we're going to pop up this presentation and let's get rocking and rolling because I have an hour and we've got a lot to go over. All right, gearing up for fall sports. Let's get started, you guys. Before you're decorating a uniform, understanding the characteristic of the uniform and what the athlete needs, the uniform 4 helps in choosing what material to use when. As we decorate for certain sports, we will first understand our material options. Knowing we are going for an athletic look, what other characteristics should we look for? Now, as we are decorating sports uniforms, most everything is considered athletic. So we're not going to focus on an athletic material. Instead, we're going to focus on a material that has performance characteristics, dye blocking characteristics, and of course, a uniform made of nylon. Why are these important? First off, a performance style material offers the ability to expand with a uniform and stretch back to its original shape as needed. You may hear this commonly referred to as stretch and rebound with specific materials, or even something like a compression style top. All of those have the ability to expand, and then once released, they snap back to their original shape. If you're using a performance-based material, this allows for the logo to stretch and stay intact and then snap back together. Most performance materials are soft and lightweight. Normally, it's one that you almost wouldn't notice is on top of the garment. Next is dye blocking, and this is pretty self-explanatory. We all know more and more uniforms are still bleeding, or they have the potential to bleed, especially if we are decorating at a high temperature and we're reactivating that dye. As you're choosing a dye blocking material or even a dye inhibiting material, this helps keep that material in its original color. So an example would obviously be white on red. That way it doesn't transition to pink. Something even like a yellow on purple that could potentially go to a green. Now, dye blocking can come with some dimension. It can be flat, and there's even some dye blocking material that is even full color capabilities. Now, a troubled textile. It's almost like, I feel like it's the stepsister of materials. However, nylon is very prevalent in performance attire, thinking sports bras, leggings, moisture wicking type of garments. Now, some uniforms are still consisting of that nylon spandex blend. However, more and more are coming with that poly or poly spandex blend. I think I have even seen a combo of, nylon, poly, and spandex. When you see nylon in a textile, you have to have a nylon specific heat transfer material in order for that vinyl, twill, whatever you're decorating with, to stay adhered on top of the garment. Now, this is just simply by choosing a product where the adhesive is made for nylon. This doesn't mean that there are different characteristics of the material. It's simply having to do with the adhesive itself. Now, there are several products out there. However, they are a little more limited than to a cotton poly standard material. It's an easy adjustment, and most nylon materials can also go on a cotton and poly product as well. All right, so up first, the volleyball category. In this particular segment, we are going to be talking about and using CAD-CUT Premium Plus. As you can see in this graphic, there are 4 different types of uniforms. There are 3 different colors, but they all have a different logo, number placement, and logo number placement. So some are in the center, some are mixed with the number, left chest. You're getting the drift of it. I thought this was extremely interesting, knowing that more than 4,800,000 teams are playing on the high school court or playing on high school court volleyball teams. This makes this the second most participated girls' high school sport in the U.S. That means there are a ton of volleyball uniforms pumping in and out of players' hands, schools, even leagues. This is a huge opportunity when it comes to looking at what sports you want to get into, or even if this is a market you want to go down. Now, next, when we're talking about the specific sport, I'm going to show you the recommended or common size numbers and name sizes to use on jerseys. Overall, when you're decorating a jersey, it's name and number specific. A logo is very, very simple. It's either the left chest or it's a center front. And with that being said, you really only have to pay attention to the number and the name that you are decorating with. As you can see for volleyball, the suggested materials are Premium Plus and silicone dye block. Now, Premium Plus is the material that is going to give you the stretch and rebound, and you will see that once we have applied it. And with volleyball jerseys, most have some type of compression around the bust and the shoulders. Some are completely fitted, like a compression tank top or short sleeve tank top or long sleeve, but most are going to have most of the fit around the shoulders and the bust. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you are decorating this area, you want to make sure you have a material that is going to grow with the player. Now, silicone dye block is a little a little odd in this particular situation. It does have that die blocking capability, but if somebody is going to dig, that silicone is going to right on the floor. So just be careful with the die block. Perhaps that would be a name and number, not so much the center front logo. As you can see, there's a recommendation for youth and adult on the height of each number. This is not the width. So for a name on adult, you're talking 2.5 inches in height and a front number of 4 inch and a back number of 8 inch. Now, if I am going a little fast, then just know I am going, because I really want to decorate these for you guys. I'm just scanning really, really quick to make sure we don't have any questions. Let's see. Okay, there was actually an excellent question about decorating swimsuits and swim caps. So if we have time to touch on that at the very end, we definitely will. Let's see. And Nancy had a question, is this information going to be available later to print out? And I believe that's a yes, right? Stacey, on printing, they will at least have the ability to go back and rewatch it, but will they have the ability to print?
The PDF of the presentation that you have, it will be sent via email, so they should be able to print it out.
Great. And I actually just saw that you responded to that. So
it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and keep moving on. All right, so the next sport we're going to talk about is soccer. And as you can see in this 5-player lineup in the graphic, this is another sport where there is so many different variations on where you're placing the logo, as well as that front number, and then that back number stays pretty consistent. You're seeing a left chest and a right chest. You're seeing a center number with a left chest. You're seeing a double-digit 2-color center number with a full color left chest. So there's even a couple of other variations that I have seen where there was a number kind of almost on the side, and then with a center chest or center left and right logo. So the number of U.S. participants in both indoor and outdoor soccer is one, oh, that should be on, that's a typo, on the rise with more than 15 million players. When it comes to decorating any sport, I know volleyball and soccer specifically have certain requirements in their logo and their number. So please make sure that you check with local league administrators on the decorating regulations. I know specifically volleyball, I have heard like nothing on the sleeves or no striping in the uniforms. Something might have changed over the years, so it's just do your due diligence and check all of that before you decorate, and then the team gets in trouble and you are out money. All right, for soccer, as you can see, our focus here is CAD cut silicone. So like I said, for volleyball, silicone is going to give you that die blocker, but what's great about it for soccer is that they are kind of going into this texture world. Whether it is implementing some type of flat texture, so it's a fake texture in numbers, or even providing some dimension in the uniform. Silicone die block is perfect because it is a die blocker, gives you a little bit of that raised dimension, that silicone feel, and it's very, very lightweight and it has excellent movement. There's a little bit of stretch, but it does not stretch and rebound like your Premium Plus would. As you can see here, you're going with 4-inch numbers on the front, 8-inch numbers again on the back, and again, 2.5 inches in height for names. Up next is basketball. Now, this one we are going to talk about sport film light, which would be your nylon category. So at the very beginning of this PowerPoint, we asked about characteristics that we need to consider. Performance, which would be your stretch. Dye block, which would be blocking any type of sublimation trying to come through, which you see a ton of sublimated soccer jerseys out there. And now basketball, while there is still your poly spandex or 100% poly uniforms out there, there are still nylon options available as well. That's where sport film light comes into play. Now, when it comes to decorating basketball, there is a little bit more of a standard. You know, typically you see the team name across the front with a number right below it or on the back. And there have even been, uniforms where it's just the logo or the team, and then all of the information is on the back. With this, you can find nearly 1 million participants at the high school level and 7.9 in organized leagues. So all of these three sports, there are tons and tons and tons of opportunity, all the way from the youth and getting started level up to collegiate and even, I'm going to say adult teams that may form for rec or fun purposes. As we are talking about basketball, now this is correct, but with this on the suggested materials, basketball really has more that you can kind of run with, because it is rare if they are looking at a very fitted uniform. Premium Plus is just an excellent material. It's lightweight, so if it's a softer basketball jersey, then you can put that on there as well. And you guys, I just realized I do not have my computer plugged in. So hang tight with me for just a quick moment. All right. I got everything set up but my computer plugged in so we can make sure we have enough juice. So when it comes to basketball, you could probably use t-shirt material. You can use abrasion resistant material. You can use the Premium Plus that gives you the stretch and rebound because it's still a really nice soft hand. Silicone dye block is another one that is great just to give, again, that dimension and blocking of any type of color that could possibly come through. But in this particular case, our scenario is that our uniform has nylon in it. That's where Sport Film Light comes into play, as it is a cotton poly nylon type of material. Still very, very thin, and it's going to be great for this particular case. Now, the only thing about Sport Film Light is that the material cannot be layered on top of it. So if you are doing a two-color logo or a two-color number, you have to have either a gap outline or just make sure that you have the knockout in the space for that second color to go directly on top of the garment you're decorating and not the first layer of the material. All right, so I thought this was really interesting that basketball traditionally uses single and double digits between 0 and 5. If you did not know this, then this is just a little bit of, a nugget of information when it comes to decorating. And you don't have to be an expert in sports to provide uniforms. You just have to understand what they're using it for, the textile content of the garment you're decorating, and then what vinyl to choose next. Let's see. Okay, so we have a question. I just want to make sure Stacy didn't answer it. Let's see. Okay, so the question from Laura, is it best to use thermofilm on basketball so the numbers do not wear off? Not necessarily. So Laura, thermofilm is an abrasion-resistant material. It's thicker than all of the materials that we're talking about. It's a little more rigid, but like you're saying, it is a really tried and true sports material. In this particular case, if there was nylon in that basketball jersey, you could use Thermogrip or Sport Film Light. I really feel like it comes down to the type of uniform the customer wants and what materials you're wanting to be able to offer. You can go with thermofilm, you could go with thermo or premium plus, which is almost going to the complete opposite, where, like I said, thermofilm is thick, premium plus, I don't know why, it's like one is not better than the other. Thermofilm is thick and premium plus is really thin. So if you have a really, really soft uniform, maybe it could potentially scorch. That's where I would go with a lower material in terms of temperature and something that allows a little bit more movement. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just more on preference. Okay, so the biggest question that we always get, whether it's shows or just the how-tos, is how do I know where to place my logos, my names, my numbers? And this right here is going to tell you exactly where to place. Now, I always keep, got it, one of these by me, even if I am, decorating multiple, but if I'm really trying to make sure I've got something 100% accurate, I use this until I can basically figure out what I call like a finger guide. And that means I'm going to go like 2 inches or 2 inches down from the collar. And then from there, I'm going to go 2.5 to 3 below the name. So just find some type of rhythm. And you can kind of just work off of that. So as you can see, the back number placement is 2 to 3 inches from the collar. So that means on a jersey, we're going to go 2 to 3 inches before you place the name. And then after the name, you're going to go 2.5 to 3. Now, the beauty of that is that's just a guide. That's not a requirement. Sometimes it's the standard, but it might be, so for me, this is like 4 fingers down and then 3 below. So that's the system that you could create. If you wanted to drop this a little bit more, you can. And let's actually just see what this is exactly. So that's actually 3 1/4 with almost 2 from there. Now, this was a sample that was actually sent to me from our inside team in Michigan. So for those that are constantly creating samples, this is where they positioned everything. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We do have a couple of others, so if we have time at the end and anybody is curious like me, we can always go through and measure. But if something looks off, do not be afraid to adjust it. Simply because it's on a piece of paper, it doesn't make it 100% official. So if something looks too wide, too much of a gap, make the adjustment because it's going to look better for the player versus going 100% to guidelines or recommendations. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there was, I'm still reading, guys. Okay, so I believe it's Sean, and he was asking about basketball and football jerseys and what will have the best stretch and won't peel off, like fall off the garment is what I'm assuming. So I noticed that Stahls said for thermofilm, or for football, we love thermofilm and thermo grip. Yes, absolutely. And for basketball, Sport Film Light Premium Plus, that Premium Plus can still go on a football jersey, but just know that with football, there's a lot of contact most of the time. So that thermofilm is really going to help protect, the jersey and help create a longevity, as there's a lot of contact within that specific sport. With Premium Plus being so thin, if you're constantly going over it, then it has the potential to wear down more than thermofilm. It doesn't make it less durable, because durability can be considered with washing and caretaking and putting on and off. It's just more about the physical contact of that jersey. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're gonna hop back in. We're almost done with our presentation. Thanks, Stahls. Okay, so then as you can see, the front logo center placement is 3 to 3.5 inches down from the collar. Front number would be 5.5 to 8 from the collar. So if you're just doing the center and not doing a logo, then you can kind of go from that. So this is just a great little tool. You can make your own guide. For those of you that love visual, take a t-shirt. Okay, a blank t-shirt, and map this out with a Sharpie. That way you know exactly what your standard is going to be. As crazy as it sounds, have somebody put on the t-shirt and mark it from there. Once you're done marking, take it off, and then that's your guide. That's something that you can create for a variety of different people in production. Maybe you're the one-man show and you just want to be consistent as possible. That's the best way to do it and get some type of rhythm going. All right, so I wanted to put all three of the numbers side by side. As you can see, if you're wanting to get into sports and you're just not quite sure on how many sizes you need to carry of numbers, is this going to require 6 different sizing? If you get into youth, yes, of course, you're going to start, kind of fluctuating between size of numbers more. But if you look in the adult category, most front numbers are a 4-inch, and most back numbers are an 8-inch, where a lot of people will actually take that 8-inch to a 10-inch. So don't stress yourself out about what sizes you need to carry. Start with 4 and 8 and kind of adjust from there. You can also do a 6 on the front, and like I said, you can do a 10 on the back. Now, as I said earlier, check with your local administrators to verify name and number size regulations and any type of logo placements if there is restrictions on where you can have certain logos and numbers as well. All right, so what we are going to be using today, and I will go over this a little, well, not a little, a lot more without the PowerPoint, is we are going to use a variety of different types of styles to apply name and number to the jersey. Perforated is the type of texture or effect we are putting into our names and numbers. Player perfect refers to having your name and number already on a sheet. So don't worry about exiting out of this. You guys, if you can see me down in that lower corner, you can see that I am showing a logo, which I will show you full screen here in just a minute. So this would be considered player perfect, as it's all on one sheet, one hit, ready to go. Also, those of you that are downloading this PowerPoint afterwards, this gives you a quick reference guide on what we used. Next, we will be using pre-spaced names, which means instead of ordering and stocking each individual letter, laying it out on a guide, it's going to already be cut, pre-spaced, just ready for you to apply. And same thing for numbers. So if you have a number 4, it's easy. It's just got the carrier on it. You align it, you're done. If you're decorating with a 2-digit, then you don't have to worry about any type of spacing. For the last one, custom cut refers to uploading a logo in services from Stahls. And Stahls is cutting and weeding, basically preparing that logo for you, sending it to you ready to be applied. And we will also be pairing this with Player Perfect, but we actually created our own Player Perfect using Easy Teams, which is part of CADWorks. If we have time after, I will break this down just a little bit, just so you guys know that this very, very simple tool is out there. All right, so let's go ahead and head to the press. I am going to reposition this so you guys can see. I know it's not extremely close, but I'm going to do my best to stay out of the heat area so you can see what exactly we are doing. Okay, so up first, we are decorating a volleyball jersey. Specifically, we are decorating with Allison. And this is just a single color. It's navy, or excuse me, royal, but it does have a heathered sleeve. And very, very simple, but that's okay. Most volleyball jerseys are not crazy wow. This is not a compression jersey. However, as you can see, it still has some really good stretch. So our focus needs to make sure we can stretch and have it snap back. So what I'm going to do first is open up our garment and thread it on our press. Now I am using a Hotronix auto clam, and then I am just going to slide our neck off of our press as best as possible. Seams off as best as possible. The first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and pre-press our garment, and then I will go over the time, temperature, and pressure specifically for this logo. We're just going to pre-press for about 4 seconds. Once that's done, it's going to automatically pop open. And now we are ready to apply. Now, in this particular case, we are using, this is perforated effects. Now, this is pre-spaced. And as you can see, it has some tiny, tiny little holes in it, which is called perforated effects. Now, this is the pattern called Scanner. And both of our number for the front and our entire logo for the back, which would be the name and number, has that entire scanner effect to this. Now, this isn't a material that you can buy already with the scanner effect. This is Premium Plus in maize, and we have selected Player Perfect, so player name and then number. And we've chosen to add an effect, which is free of charge, but there are, I think, 6 or 7 different effects. As much as I have talked about perforated effects, I should know this, but there are a couple of different options to choose from. And to show you another, this is grid. Now, what the effect does is add even more breathability to the number on the jersey. It adds for even more movement. And with Premium Plus already being the best movable, stretchy material that we have. This just enhances it even more. So what we did was I just cut this out. This is white, so this is our logo. And because we have two separate, we are just going to fold in half to create the center, and I'm going to go ahead and do it at the bottom as well. So now I have an entire center line, and then I am taking the number, folding that in half, and if you haven't guessed it, I'm lining those centers up. So the reason why you can apply both logos at the exact same time is because when I place this logo, now volleyball is a little different in terms of the front. So I am only doing, it's about two fingers in space, but I need to make sure that we're going to trim this. I know when I originally cut this that I did not cut in a straight line, and it's going to drive me crazy. So all we're doing is just lining this up. So if you have a customer that is wanting to have some type of effect, but maybe their number or their logo, their team name needs to be in a certain font, you would order this in custom cut, which is your design, cut on your own, and then you would order the effects separately. And as you can see, now we are just ready to apply. So I'm going to go 4 fingers down. Add the logo in the center, the cover sheet. Now, both of these are Premium Plus, so they apply from 280 to 300 degrees, 8 to 12 seconds. It is a medium pressure, and it is a hot or warm peel. As you start to peel, just pay attention to how the carrier is releasing. If it releases very easily, then keep peeling. All right, so let's adjust my time. We're going to go for 8 seconds. Now, what I was saying, you could apply both of those at the same time because the carrier was not blocking that back number. As long as you don't have anything blocking, then you are good to go. All right, now I made and I lifted it too high. So it is on there. But as you can see, the front is done quick and easy. You have a special effect number. Your team logo is right there, team name. And then we're going to turn around and do the back. Now, because this is player perfect and everything is already pre-spaced, the only thing you need to consider is how far you're going down from the collar. So as we peel our backing, I always find the center, so just put your logo together, crease in the middle. And then for specific reasons, I'm going to place this. And just to show you, we were talking about going, what was it? I think it was 2 to 3, I'd have to go back, 2 to 3 inches down from the collar, and then 2.5 down from that. So we're just going to go 4.5 inches. At this point, you could take your ruler, meet in the middle, and we need to go down just a smidge. Now from here, we've got our crease. So I'm just going to lift my logo to the back and then center up where we creased all the way to the logo. Now I'm going to step to the side. Stepping in front, guys. Just want to make sure it's as center as possible. All right, now we are going to finish. Got everything messed up in terms of my time. For 8 seconds, and again, it is another hot peel. So once we take this off, I'm going to let it cool down just a minute. I don't want to start stretching the garment after we've heat applied. And just give that adhesive a minute to cool down onto the garment before I start showing you the crazy stretch and rebound on it. Okay, so this is what it is like complete. And let's let that light adjust. There we go. So as you can see, it adds just another effect to it. Simple jersey, nothing wowed, right? Volleyball, sometimes you just can't get crazy uniforms. But by adding a little bit of a special effect, you really just take it to the next level. And keep in mind, you almost cannot feel this on the garment except for this. You can feel the fibers where this is completely smooth. Now, I am going to stretch it. It's still a little warm, but as you can see, it just stretches and it goes back. Okay, so same thing for the name, number. It's just going to give you stretch and rebound all the way through. Now, if you're asking why didn't we do legends with the exact same pattern, you can't do a specific or custom font or logo in perforated effects. There are certain fonts you have to choose from, as well as certain materials. All right, so volleyball done. Up next, we are moving on to soccer. And of course, we are using silicone dye block. And we are using a bright red jersey from Augusta Sportswear that has black accents. So let's go ahead and thread this garment. I'm going to adjust my pre-press back to 4 seconds. Slide off the collar. This is where I need more working space. All right, now silicone dye block applies at 290 degrees. We are currently at 293. The materials we're using today go anywhere from 280 to 300. So we're going to stay closer to that 300 mark. 10 to 12 seconds. And then this is a medium pressure with a cold peel. You don't want to peel too soon on this. Now for the logos that we are using, this was a logo that was created in CADWorks. Again, this would be your custom cut if you do not have cutting capabilities. Simple. And then these are considered pre-spaced numbers. So it comes ready to be applied. And again, we also have our 8-inch number for the back. Now, this is called pre-spaced names. Excuse me. So we've got pre-spaced numbers and pre-spaced names. The reason why it came stacked like this is because I had ordered 2 of the same. So all I'm doing is just going in and cutting this apart. Now, in this particular case, we can not stick these together, so we will just align them on the garment. There is absolutely no tack on the carrier. So first things first, we are going to go left chest and right chest. So left chest is going to get the number, and right chest is going to get the logo. Now I am going off of the collar. I'm going down and over. I will tell you, left chest is one that I need to perfect a little bit better. And then I am going to make sure that our number and the top of our logo is best centered as even as possible. Now from here, cover sheet goes over, and we are going to apply for 10 seconds. Now that die block, like I said, it's already going to give us a little bit of dimension, but it's mostly going to give you that silicone feel. Now, if you remember, we are not peeling this right away. So this is what we have. So we're going to turn it around. And do the exact same thing to the back. Now, because as you can see on our press, we have a little bit of rippling here. In order to create as smooth or flat a surface as possible, you can use a pillow, a printing pad, or you could also go to a smaller platen. That way you have all seams, any type of obstructions away from the upper heating element, creating as smooth a surface as possible. So again, we're just going to pre-press this. And for me, let's see, I am going to go 3 fingers down from the collar. That cover sheet just keeps falling. So I have found the middle. I'm going 3 down. And flipping that logo back just to make sure we are as center as possible. And then for our number 4, we are going to go another 2 down. And then I am just going to follow that original line I created at the top all the way through. Now, if you have partners in production or somebody helping you, you can definitely align this prior, tape it together, and then lay it flat if you like. All right, so cover sheet. And again, 10 seconds on this. Once we're done, we'll peel it or pull it off of the press, peel the front and let the back cool, or you could just set them all down as you're going and then peel at the end. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys the dimension on this, but this red is definitely more of a brick, not a tomato. There you go. You can see it a little bit. But you are getting definitely a raised surface, and you can't hear it, but there is a silicone feel. And then, of course, the number 4. I'm sticking to carriers, and I need another table. So this is what the front of our jersey looks like. Let's do it like this. And then let's see if I can get this back to peel. Now for silicone, as you are peeling that carrier, sometimes you just have to give it a little bit of a nudge in order to get it going, and then you're just fine. So as you can see, we've chosen a fun font in this. It's not your standard block or athletic college, whatever you want to call it. Just a little more spice added to just a simple jersey. And of course, that silicone really just ups the game. Keep in mind, silicone is considered a specialty material. So if you are offering somebody this product, make sure you add a little bit of extra room in terms of cost and, of course, what you are charging the customer. You're getting texture. It's also a dye blocker. And while this takes very, very little time to apply, it's just something that warrants a little bit higher price. Okay, up next, we are decorating 2 colors on a reversible jersey. Now, for basketball, this is another Allison Columbia blue with white. And of course, if you reverse it, then it is white with Columbia blue. Now, as you can see, I have a navy logo already placed, and I don't have a number, but I'm going to show you how to create kind of different looks on one jersey. In this particular case, we just chose to go with Wildcats. On the back would be standard navy name and number. On the front, with our Columbia blue, this is where we are going to get a little bit more of a wow factor using 2 colors. Now, this one is Sport Film Light. Now, this jersey isn't nylon. However, we're going to pretend it's nylon, as that is the whole point of going with Sport Film Light. But like I said, it's also good for other materials. So it's a really, really versatile material that is thin, feels great, and can be used through different types of sports. So we're just going to, again, pull that collar off. I want to make sure that this is center as possible. Cover sheet. Now with Sport Film Light, it applies at 302 degrees, 10 to 12 seconds. It is a medium pressure and it's a warm peel. So not scorching, but not cool, just somewhere in the middle. Now the logo that we used was created in CADWorks Live. And as you can see, this is a 2 color. So we will apply the navy Sport Film Light first, since it cannot be layered. And then our metallic silver will just fall into those cavities. You could leave it just like this. So this could have also been the logo that was used on the white. That way it's identical, or you can mix it up. You can also see that the last name and the number is already in this logo. It's just showing you a different type or a different decoration method way. So again, we're going to fold her in half. And then I am going 4 and a little bit more down from the seam. Now with this, it has the point of the V-neck. So you can actually just take the line that you created creased and just draw it straight up. And I just want it to be as straight as possible. You can also go off of fingers on width. So in this case, this is about 3.5. And we are the same on this side as well. All right, cover sheet. This should be 4 seconds, not 10. It should have been 10. I was thinking I was pre-pressing. So we're just going to keep it going for another 4, and I'm going to hold it down. Okay. Now, the other thing is when you are doing 2 colors, we would have been just fine on tacking it with 4 seconds. So we would pre-press for 4, tack for another 4, and then we would go in for the full 10 to 12 seconds on this color. Now, like I said, this is a warm peel. So we are just going to peel away. The colors we're using are navy and metallic silver. And then this is just going to fit into the gap space that we have created. Now, one of the reasons you tack down is so that your logo doesn't shift, and our logo is shifted just a little bit. So as you will see up close, there is a little bit of show through on that Columbia blue. So now we're just going to hit it for the full 10. That way that metallic silver gets to cook completely. I'm going to check in chat just really fast, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, Laura asked, why do we use a cover sheet? For a couple of reasons. One, it helps protect your heating element from anything on your shirt. So let's say you went from doing a sublimation transfer, you're going to want that cover sheet. If for any reason something were to get on the heating element and then you were to go and apply something else and you couldn't see it, adhesive, it's going to hit the cover sheet before it would the garment. So you're simply protecting both your garment and your heating element, but the most important thing here is this heating element. Nobody wants to ruin a heating element or try to figure out how to clean a heating element. The other thing with a cover sheet is you can use craft paper or you can use a Teflon sheet, and you can get different sheens. Some provide more of a matte, some provide a little bit more of a gloss. It can also help bring up the texture of whatever the garment is as well. Does the heat machine set up automatically between garments, thin or thicker? Okay, so this, can't see what I'm doing, but it couldn't get that stick. This right here is the pressure. And because all of our garments have been pretty much the same, this one's just a little bit thicker, I have not adjusted my pressure. So if we were doing a hoodie, then I would definitely need to loosen up on the pressure. That way we had our accurate reading. If that's what you're talking about, hopefully that answers it. If not, then definitely let me know so I can rephrase. Let's see. Pamela said she has shirt rulers, but mostly uses her hands. I do too. Once I figure out I need to be like 2 or 3 or 4, then I just go boop, boop, boop. It took me a while to kind of get adjusted to that, but once I did, it was so much easier. Let's see. And I do see Stacy coming in and commenting. So I am also answering just in case anybody misses her response, then you guys can hear it this way as well. I also see that we are like a minute from being out. So I'm going to show you this. And I'm not going to decorate the back, as it would be the exact same way. We would do the name, or we would do the navy and the silver. But the one thing I also wanted to touch on, so there you go, metallic silver. It's not a like chrome, but you can still get a little bit of shimmer in that sport film. Okay, so in terms of jerseys, this is the 3. You've got your nylon, you've got your performance, and then you've got your dye blocker. The other thing I wanted to hit on is the spirit side of the world. There's not enough time to really dive deep in this, so I am just going to decorate this and we're going to go. And there are a couple of other slides in the PowerPoint that you'll see. If we can get this done and you guys are willing to hang on, then excellent. Bear with me. But the one thing I wanted to go over is, as you're decorating uniforms, do not miss the spirit side market. This could be spirit, meaning spirit wear for the school or team wear. This could also mean the cheer and dance sides of sports. It doesn't mean you have to decorate their uniforms. With dance, it gets a little complicated. Same thing with cheer. But there are other products that you can decorate to gain that business, help tie in looks of uniforms and the overall school, kind of creating one visual kind of powerful look for the school. But it also can bring you incredible margins because a lot of times you're using specialty materials. So that would be glitter flake. That could be hologram, chroma, again, silicone. You can still use things like that. In this particular case, we're going to decorate an anorak jacket using 2 layers of soft foam and a layer of glitter flake. So this is going to be 3 layers. Soft foam can be layered on top of each other. And this is incredible because you can create dimension. You can keep this in-house instead of using twill and having to worry about embroidery. But you can also get a really, really cool effect, whether it is on a hoodie, whether it is for a cheerleader to be out on the field cheering, wearing to school instead of their uniform. You can let your imagination run wild with this, but don't be afraid to tap into that market because there is so much opportunity. So I'm going to show you, but this is the logo that we are creating. So it is red soft foam, it is white soft foam, and then navy glitter flake. So we are going to apply the white, then the glitter flake, and then the red. They will each apply for 15 seconds. Glitter flake will only apply for 8. And this is going to be on the back. So again, we are just going to quickly pre-press. And one thing to consider when it comes to anoraks is that you're going to have that mesh kind of get that texture coming through. So unless for some reason there is the ability to split, you have to plan for texture. Sometimes that's when thicker materials are a little bit nicer to use, like silicone or soft foam, soft flock. Otherwise, if you don't mind it and your customer doesn't mind it, then all good. In this particular case, I really want the M to be more in the middle than I do this entire logo. So I am got it really far off. Here we go. Gonna pull up the hood. Going 5 down because with the idea that the hood is there, then it will kind of just drape below the logo. All right, so cover sheet and 15 seconds. Now, the important thing on this is that soft foam requires light pressure. So make sure that you don't go too heavy. Let's see. Oh, just making sure I'm not crazy missing anything. Okay, so Marina said, does the layering create a thick stick decoration? This is what I experienced in the past. When you say thick stick, meaning the logo is going to get thicker and thicker and thicker? Yes, ideally it will, because if you're putting material on top of material on top of material, then yes, stiff, then you are creating layers, right? So if you were to take stickers off of a sticky sheet and continue to stick the stickers on top of each other, things are always going to get thicker no matter how thin the material is. In this particular case, there's a lot of cavities. So with this guy, the idea is that this red is going to pipe on top of everything. So we want that thickness. We want almost a, we really want that dimensional. I don't know if that would be I think that would be more like 3D dimensional. So this is going to bring the characteristics and just pop on top. This is going to be a thinner material than the soft foam, but we're going to get a really cool effect with that glitter flake. So ideally, the soft foam would be higher than the glitter flake, but with it being on the back of a jacket and a lot of people used to wearing twill on the back or a thicker material, I would say it would be more complicated to do something like that on the front unless you're really focusing on where your cavities are and it's not a heart on top of a heart on top of a heart. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so this is, okay, we're peeling. It says cold peel, but this is definitely warm and it peeled just fine. Next is going to be our glitter flake, because if we were to apply this third, then the red foam would sit higher. So technically the heating element would hit the red foam and not the glitter flake. So what I'm going to do just to make sure is actually, I'll show you. I am going to line up I'm trying to line everything together. This one gets a little more complicated. I know you guys are probably like, I gotta go back to work. And I'm like, but you gotta see this. All right, so I'm going to put that and line it up this way to make sure I've got everything lined up correctly. Peel back my red. Apply this one, 8 to 10 seconds. Now this is going to be a hot peel, so we will peel that and then be able to apply that soft foam. Now this glitter flake is not going to be a glitter bomb to anybody. You're not going to find glitter everywhere around the school or in the car or in the washer or dryer. So next, we are going to put our last layer of foam on top. And foam can be on foam, but it cannot be on glitter flakes. So that's why we have this cutout. And as you can see, this buffalo right here. If you are doing some type of artwork like this, I do encourage you to adjust your artwork to make it as easy as possible for you when it comes to lining. My art has shifted just a little bit. But I'm also racing. All right, and then we are going to finish for another 15 seconds, show you, and be done. When it comes to a variety of uniforms, do not be afraid to offer full color. Like I said, a couple of slides further down, we'll show you some examples. And then, of course, there are new dimensional logos like flex style, leather patches. I wouldn't necessarily put on a uniform, but it's great for spirit wear and caps. And, of course, there are 3D embroidery patches that you can put on other garments for spirit wear as well. Okay, we're going to let that cool down. And just to give you a couple of other examples, this is a full color logo with a 4-inch number, decorated with some shorts. Here's another full front logo for soccer with a 2-color number on the back. And this is Premium Plus as well. We've got Premium Plus on a compression basketball jersey. So as this stretches, of course, those numbers are going to expand. Number on the back. And here is another example for spirit wear, which is printable glitter flake. And this is just a 1-hit versus 3 that I am creating right now. All right, so let's see what this bad boy looks like. I rushed through it. I got my logos off, but if the hat is down, you can still see what the logo looks like on the back. And for a simple anorak jacket, this turned out fantastic. And you can't really see the dimension here, as this camera isn't going to be perfect, but we've got 3 different layers. Let's see. Just really creating some dimension. So this is something that you could pop on a hoodie, sell for to a variety of people. Instead of the metallic, change it to a matte finish. Just let your mind run with that. So pretty. If you guys have any questions, again, pop them in there. I know Stacy's been helping you out. Thanks so much for rocking with me till the end. I know it is 13 over. You guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for attending our education. I'm Kelly Walters, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to double check the comments, see if there's any questions that I can answer, but if you have to run, I totally get it. Let's see. Kayla said that PTAs are phenomenal about referrals. So if you do great for one, then they're going to refer you to the next. So keep that in mind if you are going after spirit wear or even sports in general. Okay, so Heather asked, what would I charge for a hoodie like that? Who do you order your jerseys from? So there is a list of vendors. Most of these materials were ordered from S&S. So there's going to be a typo in the vendor list. It's Allison, and it should be Alleson, and I believe I have Allison. But going through vendors direct may also help you. I know S&S and even Sanmar had limited availability. So Holloway is another, Badger is another. Okay, so in terms of charging, I really have to crank down the numbers. You're talking about 3 layers of film. It's going to be better to cut it in-house than order it through services. Without knowing the square foot of the cost, I'm not going to be accurate, but I will tell you where I live, you could have easily charged $40, $45 for that thing. There's 3 layers, there's dimensional, there's glitter flake. For the sport, you could have put cheer on the bottom or cheerleading. And that just really increases the value. Personalize the front. That's going to also increase the value. It may only cost you 25 cents to do a name, but you can charge $5 for a name. Let's say the jacket was $12 and the transfers as a whole were $12. There's no reason why you can't at least charge $40. $39.99 is at least a $15 per jacket. Can I talk about the one-hit glitter sheet I just showed? So this is called CAD Color Printable Glitter Flake, or CAD Color Glitter. And it's a white glitter that's ran through an eco-solvent printer, and you have this one color transfer. You can also order these through services, which is called CAD Prints Glitter. Stacey, can you correct me on that? So what you would do is upload your artwork, select CAD Prints, and then you would select your glitter and then go through that process there. But it's super simple. Once you have approved your artwork, ships in 48 hours, if sooner than that. So easy, 300 12 to 15 seconds, done. Let's see. On multiple colors, I print with eco-solvent on printable HTV. Yes, Robert, that's the way to go if you can do it. In this particular case, we were trying to create dimension and also mix flat with a glitter. So if you were wanting to do the printable glitter flake, if you wanted any type of matte outline, then you would have to go in with a second hit of another material. But if you can do the eco-solvent or even order in services for us to do it for you, you can go full color numbers. You can put in patterns, fire, oh my gosh, diamond plate. Like, you can just run wild with an eco-solvent printer. And because you're doing full color and customized, that's a whole nother element of adding to your price point. Patrice, that's correct. So you cut each layer in-house and then put them together. So I would run my red soft foam through my cutter, weed, set aside. Then I would run the white and then the navy glitter, set aside, and heat apply one-on-one. There is a little bit more labor involved, but keep in mind, you're building a really unique version of their logo. If you wanted to order it in services and you don't have that cutting capability, then you would upload each color layer at a time. So you would upload the red file that you would want in red, and you would order that. Then you would do it in navy, and then you would do it in white. Patrice, hopefully that answers your question on how to create the 3-element transfers. Okay, guys, Erin, thank you. Okay, so swimsuits and caps are very, very difficult. With swimsuits, you have to consider chlorine, you have to consider nylon. So with any swimsuit, a solid cut material is going to be better than printable, so you're not worried about the eco-solvent and the chlorine. But what I would recommend is taking the swimsuit that they are needing decorated and doing different types of logos. The Sport Film Light is nylon, and it has a little bit of give, not like the Premium Plus, but it does have a little bit. That's one that I would recommend. There is also Ultra Color Stretch from Transfer Express, which is good for nylon. And again, it's not stretchy like Premium Plus, but it has a little bit of a give. Where the test is going to be is in and out of that chlorine, depending how long they're in the water, how often they are washing them. I know this isn't the best answer, as there are some variables in that, but that's the route I would go. If you have more questions on that, you can reach out to me, but swimsuits are definitely a difficult one. Some things have worked great and some are just so tricky. Okay, guys, let's see. Recommend to add decoration to the side of socks, if any. Premium Plus, because it stretches. The other thing is sublimation is always really good with that. Or I've seen CAD prints, like an eco solvent, like we were talking about earlier. So, whoop. That would be something like this. This is just a one hit, but there's actually 3 colors. It is a green, navy, and white in that. Just know that with socks, they typically start out pretty narrow and then expand. So you're going to really want to consider that stretch in there. All right, guys, we are 22, almost 30 minutes overtime. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys have a wonderful start to your week. Thanks again for tuning on and staying on with us. I know if you allotted for an hour and I kept you for an hour and a half, then hopefully it didn't derail your day. Stace, is there anything else that I missed that I didn't discuss besides the other parts of the presentation that are just kind of added bits?
The only other question I saw earlier was somebody who just wanted to know what you would charge per uniform, but I feel like that's going to be a whole nother discussion. Is there any way you could point somebody towards like resources for like costs and what to price things at?
Yeah, so on Stahls, there is a calculator that you can download. And you can, if you're cutting in-house, then you can go ahead and get all of that information up front. The other thing that I think is also easy to do is to take our Stahls catalog or go to the website and actually do like player perfect, because that's going to be your name and your 2 numbers combined. And as a whole, that's going to be the most expensive way to get names and numbers. I'm going to touch this, hold on. And I say most expensive because you can do pre-cuts, which are individual numbers that don't have any carrier. You have to align, you have to center. That at least gives you a roundabout cost, because cutting in-house, you doing it, is always going to be more affordable, cost-effective than having Stahls produce them, unless you are considering how much time you could save by ordering them. So with that being said, let's say it's $1.50 to get a name and number for the back, and it's $2 for the front. Again, these are just random numbers I'm throwing out, but to give you an idea. If that jersey was $10, then we are at what, $13.50 in total decoration, not including time or overhead. So from there, that's when I would do your own research, because each sport industry, each sport market is going to warrant a different cost on jersey, and then you have to take into demographics. So this is a very, very rounded answer and not going to give you probably what you are wanting. We'd have to really sit down some pen and paper and break it down, but I would look at other sites and see what they're charging, see if you can create a uniform just to give you some basis. I also wouldn't be afraid to ask neighbors, if your kids are in school, see if you can find out how much they paid for uniforms and kind of go off of there. I wouldn't say don't sell yourself short and be the lowest, but also don't come in, guns blazing. That way you can obtain that business, show them your value, what you can bring to the table, and then show them the good, better, best options if possible. So Josh has a book on how to kind of calculate your price point. It's a super easy read, but it's a great teaching tool to kind of help navigate through what you can really charge. And keep in mind, they're typically lower pieces. So if you have a 12-player team versus a 25-player team, is that good or better? You know, choose. I'm not going to say worse, but you have to choose which one is better for you. They keep coming. What do you recommend for full color on 100% poly? Full color, SuperTech Sublastop. So SuperTech is a printable material that goes through eco-solvent, but it has a charcoal adhesive on the back. So it's a dye blocker where you can do your full color. So in this particular case, if this was on red, that white would not turn pink because this would have a charcoal backing to it. So if you're looking for the material, it's called CAD Color SuperTech Sublastop. If you're wanting to order it in services, it's called CAD Prints SuperTech Sublastop. Let's see. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, guys. We're out. We're running. No. It works with over 12 colors. Sherry, you can do somebody's family picture on it and have 100 different colors on there and get that very, very fine detail. So yes, you are good to go. All right, guys, it is officially 27 minutes over. We'll see you next time. I'll actually be going live on Facebook and YouTube on Wednesday this week. If you want to tune in. I might try to recreate that anorak jacket and make it perfect, but otherwise, we'll see you next time and have a wonderful start to the week.